Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday, and thank you for joining us for this little bit of Aramaic. Thank you for joining us as we took a little detour to look at a verse past couple of weeks that I felt described and set the tone for understanding the um, attributes that Jesus personified, and that those same attributes really affect how we should be looking at the Sermon on the Mount. So we come back to that as we return to Matthew chapter 5, verse 5, and looking at this very short verse. And of course, in English, it reads, Blessed the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the meek, blessed shall be the meek. Let's take a look at the Aramaic and see if we can gain anything new now that we have somewhat of a foundation from the past two sessions. So reading the Aramaic here, it's tu vaihun lemachihe dehenun neirtun lar ah. And again, just so you get a feel for how it sounds, I think it's good to start attuning your ears to these languages. It helps just enhance for me. Now, looking at this, we've looked at the Tu Vaihun, which is blessed, Ashrei, and the Hebrew, which matches a lot of the Psalms that talk about Ashrei or being blessed. If you go to Psalm 1, it starts out that way, and we've looked at that word. But coming back to this word for meek, which is lemakihe, this again, the word meek needs some unpacking, and especially because in the English translation, they leave off something. Here, the lamed preposition means two or four. The aleph at the end of this word is a definite article, and so in what they didn't translate, what this means to the meek or for the meek. So these blessings, this ashrei, this tulahun, is to the meek. And again, this again to me ties so closely to Jesus's personality as he was describing himself and ultimately giving us a guideline for what he desires us to become, and that as we desire to become more like him, those attributes that we should be um, uh, having as part of embodying and displaying in our lives. So, that is just a fantastic one. We're going to unpack this by going to our beautiful flyouts that we have. We look at this word. It shows up here as humble, lowly, mild, gentle, many different ways to unpack that. And we're going to just take a look at what our friend Marcus Jastrow has to say. And we see that here, as we look at these words, and this website is just so incredible. It allows us to look at this word. And again, the beauty of the Aramaic, which is very similar to the Hebrew, is when you go to their dictionary or lexicon, as they're called, all the words are somewhat related to each other, which you don't find in an English dictionary. So the word we're looking at is really called out here, but when you look at the words on either side of it, they all have meanings. Here's the lowliness, humility. It caused a measure of capacity. Here we see on the other side of the word, we see the words poverty. We see um, lowliness, decline, to bend over, to bend down. So all these words have some relative meaning. And so going to the lowliness and humility again fits exactly with the nature of Jesus that he was trying to teach to us. So as we continue, and we look at that, we want to go to the next word, which is inherit. And so this has some fantastic meaning that I never was aware of before. Again, we go to Marcus Jastrow, open up this verse here, and we find the word that's translated as inherit. But again, it's always very interesting because if you think of what is this promise here, And why would we want to inherit the earth? It hasn't our focus been all along that we are not of this world, we are not of this earth, we are of a heavenly kingdom. Heaven is our goal. Why would, there be a lesser prize, if you will, of inheriting the earth? And if anybody knows what the spirituality and biblical picture is about the end times, why would you want the earth? So this has always been intriguing to me. There's a few nuggets here that may help us um, go through that. Of course, the Hebrew and Aramaic here have many different ways to um, translate it. You can look at the word conquer, take possession, succeed, inherit. You go to the next page, cause to inherit, leave by will, law of succession, and you could build a study upon those thoughts, and many, many have. But the one that stands out to me here that gave me a remez or just a little bit of spiritual awakening here was this word choice, that it is like a dowry in a marriage contract, that it's something that's given as the marriage is being um, finalized. It is what is the payment or the dowry. And we don't have a lot of that going on in our culture today. But back at the time when this was being taught, dowries were arranged marriages, and dowries were all the norm. And so they could have understood it as this is a dowry or a down payment or something that was being given for something else. And as I was looking at that, what really clicked with me here was in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 2. John is saying that he saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I started thinking of all of the story here in Revelation chapter 21 of the similarities and the comparison to a marriage. And again, being Western, being 2,000 years removed from the culture, reading about a culture that's very foreign to us, it's difficult for us to get our mindset back to that time and pick up the nuances of what these words meant to them, because they're pretty much lost in, at least in my mind. And so we understand this a little differently if we think how this fits into this marriage contract of what is being given, and that, I don't believe it's really saying that we are going to inherit the earth as a prize, as a possession, because that's not where our focus is on. But our life down here, the things that we have done for God, our walk upon this earth, the lives we've touched, the witness that we've given, all become our testimony, all become what we have given to this earth, and I believe will be a witness for us as to how we did our best to live for God and serve God and allow His will to be done through us. And that we see in the scriptures that are those deeds and those things that we've done come up many, many times as an understanding that they follow with us, that those things that we do here on this earth, um, we inherit them in a way, or they become something that we give back to God. There's another verse in Revelation where they take their crowns and throw before the Lord, trading all of our sorrows, trading all of the things we had here to inherit and to be wedded to the Lord in a marriage ceremony of the Lamb, to inherit this heavenly realm that is coming our way. So again, that is just very interesting. I also see that the words here translated inherit the earth. Again, there's a lamed preposition on the front. There is a definite article aleph on the back. So they did not translate the lamed preposition, which is to or for. And so we think at it this way, that, those that are for the meekness will have a dowry, and that dowry will be to or for the earth, not inheriting the earth, but as a somewhat of a compensation, and that's not the right word either, but it's that, we've done our part here on this earth. We have lived for God. We have allowed our light to shine to a lost and a dying world. And, we are his prized possession, and he has given everything for us to be able to spend all eternity with him. And this earth is just our testing ground. It's, as I think Shakespeare said, that all the world's a stage and we are just its actors. And in a way that applies to what we do, what we say, how we interact with everyone here, that our goal is to follow, his directive to influence others, teach them as we have been taught, and encourage them, because this world is not our home. Governments and kingdoms will fall, but ultimately Jesus will reign supreme. And that's my encouragement. I hope that's your encouragement. There's a lot packed into this. I did look at the Hebrew, and again, the Hebrew is very different. It has more of an understanding of this earth, more of an understanding of the land of Israel being referenced by the Aretz here. And so, not that that's incorrect, but it has more of a Jewishness of reclaiming Israel. And so here is a few things here that I put in the Hebrew, how the Hebrew unpacks, how similar it is to some Psalms. Of course, for this world to be a perfect place, all wickedness would have to be removed, and all the people who commit those wicked deeds and that evil would have to be removed. And again, this could also be something in a futuristic messianic realm during the 1,000 years of peace. This may come to pass. So as you can see, there's different layers. There's dualities here in how this could be, talked about. A lot of Jewish thought from the Musar, from Rav Kook on what humility is. That humility is associated with spiritual perfection, but again, it has to be balanced. It has to be tempered with God's word. It's moving from the internal to the external. So again, very interesting things here from the Hebrew. And we're going to end our lesson with that. And I pray that God blesses you. You have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for listening, and look forward to sharing again with you next week. Bye bye.